In this video, I'll be talking about my thoughts on Chapter 6 Season 4 as a whole. If you happen to enjoy this video, consider leaving a like and subscribing and using code WATSOG in the Fortnite item shop. And yeah, let's get straight into the video. So, Chapter 6 Season 4. It's been quite the season, if you ask me, and I just kind of want to talk about it for a little bit. So, on launch, I just want to start because that's the beginning. On launch, I really enjoyed the season. I thought it was really fun. I liked the medallions. I thought they were fun. I liked how much movement there was in the game. It wasn't perfect. I wouldn't say it's my favorite season at all of all time, but I definitely probably put it in like a B tier or like a low A tier in my personal opinion. I thought it was pretty good, and I thought, it was fun. We had double pump back. We had all this cool stuff. Shockwave launchers. Once again, the medallions were fun. That was all cool stuff. The only really bad things I can really say about the season is that the medallions were quite dominant, and I feel like if you had them, you were 99% of the time gonna win, right? If you didn't have them, well, good luck, right? Got that 1% chance, right? There's always that, but I feel like there was a better solution to facing it to what they did. And what they did was, in my opinion, one of the most infuriating moves I think they've made this entire season. So they decided, you know what? The medallions are a little bit too busted. We're just gonna remove them from the entire season. They're just gone. Goodbye. They're no longer in the game, which I don't think you understand how much this annoys me, because the medallions were basically the only reason to go for the bosses. Like, yes, all the bosses had their own mythic weapon, but the mythics were not that much better than the normal counterparts. And the exotic versions of like every single weapon they had was better. The exotic marksman, eradicator, whatever, Record Revolver is so much better than the mythic Record Revolver. And same thing for the Eradicator OXR. That's so much better than the mythic OXR. And now the sweeper doesn't have an exotic version, but no one's using the sweeper. So it's like, why would you even bother going to these bosses at this point? There's no reason. That was a little bit annoying in my opinion. In my opinion, I think they should have just like made an item that gave you like the effect of the medallions for a little bit of time. Like maybe call it like a bug splash or something stupid like that, and just have it give you the effects of the medallions. I don't know, that seems like a pretty good solution to me. That way everyone can have the effects, but the medallions are still like wanted and like a good thing to go for, right? Sort of like how in Chapter 5 Season 3 we had Nitro Splashes and we also had the Nitro Medallion. Just the same thing about the bug medallion effects. That was quite annoying in my personal opinion, but whatever. Season was still enjoyable. You still had like stuff like the shockwave launcher in for movement. It was fun. It was good. And then like I think like a week later or something, they decided, you know what? Shockwave launcher, gone. It's no longer in the game. Yes, we gave it a whole exotic. That's gone too. Was it bugs at the beginning of the game or the season? And now it's been in the game for like a week because they finally fixed it. Are we taking it out? Yes, it's gone, which was kind of annoying. Not gonna lie. To be fair though, they did bring back the shockwave hammer. And they didn't give it durability. That's like the first like mobility item all chapter they haven't given durability. So that's cool. Nice little addition there, I would say. That's at least one plus. At least we got the shockwave hammer back. That's nice. And also a little small thing before I get on to the next point I want to just talk about. The AR meta in the beginning of the season was like perfect. It was so good. You had the hammer AR, you had the fury AR, and you had the OXR. All these weapons felt balanced. They felt good to use. They felt like they worked well with each other. There wasn't one dominant AR. I felt like there was an actual choice in what you could pick up, and I liked that. I like when Fortnite loopholes have a choice. I feel like for a long time there was a period of time where they struggled, where like there was a clear dominant like weapon for every category, and I just don't like when that happened. And now this season they finally gave us a good AR loot pool that does not have a clear dominant choice. There wasn't a single red dot AR in the loot pool at the beginning of the season, and it was like that for last season too. Chapter 6 Season 3, there was no red dot ARs in that season either. So two good AR loot pools in a row in my opinion. But then they decided, you know what, we're gonna get rid of the hammer AR, even though it's like everyone's favorite like hit scan non-scoped AR, and we're gonna add the Hollow Twister back and the MK7. One, having both of those in the game at the same time I feel is kind of redundant because they're basically the same like niche, but whatever. They're both in the game. And second of all, those two weapons being in the game completely removes the ability to like actually get away with using a Fury or an OXR, because those weapons are so much better. Like a low rarity like Hollow Twister is so much better than like a legendary OXR because it has a scope and it's always first shot accurate. It's actually so annoying. In my opinion, I don't care if a loot pool has like red dot ARs or non-red dot ARs. I just think you have to choose between which ones you want. If you want a red dot AR meta, have multiple red dot ARs in the game and no other ARs, just red dot. If you don't want red dot ARs in the game, well, easy. Don't put any red dot ARs in the game like they had at the beginning of the season. But we have to have a mix, and we have to basically eliminate half the choice from the loot pool. Like, yes, you could technically still use an OXR, but you're gonna get killed by someone with a Hollow Twister or an MK7. That's just how it is, unfortunately. So that was kind of annoying. Another weird thing they did, they just decided, we're just gonna remove the bugs. You know, the whole thing the season was based about. And don't get me wrong, I think the map right now, or at least before the Halloween update, right after they removed all the bugs and had like the fixed POIs come in, I thought the map looked way better than it did at the beginning of the season. At the beginning of the season, the map kind of looked like a mess and it was kind of gross. And the blue grass was kind of like, I don't know, it just didn't really work for me. Like, I feel like I wanted a biome that looked like that for a long time, but now that I actually saw it in game, I don't know if it was just like how like the structure of the biome was like, you know, I don't know if that's why I didn't really like it, but something about the biome, man, I just didn't really like the coloring. And also the POIs, the new POIs this season at launch were not particularly good in my opinion. Like, we had the OXR base, which is actually like the only POI from launch that's still in the game, I'm pretty sure. It's crazy to think about. And that's probably honestly the best POI, and I don't even really like that POI that much. We had Swarmy Stash, I think it was called. It was where Brutal Box Carts was in the last few seasons. That POI, it's really small, and it's basically just a smaller, worse version of Ranger's Ruin. That's kind of what it is. It's not a good POI. I'm gonna be real. There was no boss there ever, so there was no real incentive to go there. And like, I guess it's central-ish in the map, so I guess that's kind of a benefit, but just don't go there, man. It was never good. The Hive, probably I would say the best out of the 3 like boss locations. I didn't really like the layout, I'm gonna be real, but you know, it had the benefit of the medallion and the revolver. So I guess that kind of adds it a little bit. But after they removed that stuff, what was the point of going there? It was so garbage. Not gonna lie, there was like not a single like actual building in that POI at all. Not very good in my opinion. And we had a Ranger's Ruin. That's where Crime City was. And honestly, quite possibly the biggest downgrade from a POI to a new POI ever. Crime City is like so much better than Ranger's Ruin. It is insane. Like, Crime City, I would say is probably like a B tier, kind of low A tier kind of POI. Ranger's Ruin makes Crime City look like a triple S tier kind of POI. That is how bad I think Ranger's Ruin is in comparison to Crime City. Crime City I feel like it had a lot more loot. I feel like there was a lot more like stuff going on in that POI. I felt like it was way more better designed, more better design stuff, something like that. I can't speak today. But Crime City was so much better than Ranger's Ruin. It is so unbelievable how strongly I feel about this. But the worst part is, Ranger's Ruin quite possibly had the worst medallion and mythic weapon combo. Unless it had the double jump one. I'm pretty sure that was the Demon Debris that had the double jump medallion. But if I'm right about this, Ranger's Ruin had like I don't even remember what it was, I'm gonna be honest. That's how forgettable I think it was. I just know it was not very good. And the Sweeper Shotgun, not very good either. It's like a weaker tack shotgun with a really bad spread. It's so bad. So the mythic version is just not gonna be good. So Ranger's Ruin sucks as a POI. Like, it's so bad. And they replaced Crime City. Like, you couldn't replace any other POI with it. You couldn't replace like Shogun Solitude with it. Like, I'm sorry, Shogun Solitude is a bad POI. So like, if you're gonna replace a bad POI with a bad POI, you know, fine. But you're replacing an actual decent POI with a really bad POI. It's like, bro, are we kidding? Are we kidding? But aside from that, we have Demon Debris, as I mentioned earlier. That had the OXR and the double jump medallion, I'm pretty sure, which, you know, not bad. OXR is pretty good, at least when you could actually like compete with it, right? But not as good as the Hive medallion and mythic, in my opinion. Now, we also did get like another bug kind of POI, like a little bit less than halfway into the season. We had Utopia City become Dystopia City. I know, crazy name there. And I mean, it's just the worst Utopia City, let's be real. I think Utopia City already isn't that great of a POI. Like, it's not bad, but I prefer Seaport City over Utopia City, in my opinion. So when you take Utopia City and just like completely destroy everything, it's gonna be worse. It's gonna be a bad POI, like, let's be real. Dystopia City, not a good POI, in my opinion. I appreciate them for trying to add something new. Also, I mean, I'll accept any mid-season map changes, but if it's a bad POI, I will say it's a bad POI. That's just how I think about it. Now, thankfully, that change did get reverted once they removed all the bugs. So Utopia City's back in the game. So that's nice. It's a nice little change. But Dystopia City, still a bad POI. And then I'd say probably the thing that I would say saved the season for me, because, you know, the whole like mishmashing and like trying to decide what you want the season to actually be, kind of turned me off in the season a little bit, but the Fort Nightmares update is quite possibly my favorite update all chapter. I'm gonna be real. This chapter, well, I do think it's been good, have not been too crazy about it, right? But this Fort Nightmares event is so good. This is quite possibly better than last year's Fort Nightmares event, and Fort Nightmares last year was pretty good too. Like think about it this year. We got like 6 POI map changes this year. That is crazy. We got a lot of new items. We got like mythic bosses on the map. We got, oh my god, this Fort Nightmares was so good. We had creepy camps. That was one of them. We got freaky fields coming back. You know what I'm saying? And then the other POI changes weren't too crazy. They were just kind of like Halloween themed versions of older POIs, but they're still cool. Like we had a Gordy Gate, just Foxy Floodgate, Viney Shafts, quite the POI name if I do say so myself, turned from Shiny Shafts, so that's interesting. And then we had Pumpkin Pass, which might honestly become one of the most forgettable POIs after the season's over, I'm not gonna lie. Who's gonna remember Pumpkin Pass, okay? No one's gonna remember Pumpkin Pass in like 3 months from now. But it's there. It's just replace Shining Span, so. And I feel like I'm forgetting another POI, but I don't know what it is, so just have to deal with it. And so Fort Nightmares this year is pretty good. Also got a whole new reload map for Fort Nightmares, like that's pretty cool. Had a bunch of cool POIs on there, but it's not Battle Royale, so I don't really want to mention it too much, but Fort Nightmares reload map, very cool, very nice. I actually like it quite a lot. Might be one of my favorite reload maps, if I'm gonna be honest. Like if it could replace Venture forever, I'd be thankful. Please do that. Get rid of Venture. I'm not a fan of Venture. Like, it was cool when the game mode first came out, but it's just so outdated, man. But yeah, overall, I think the season has been good, but the identity crisis has kind of killed some enjoyment I had for the season. That's my thoughts for the season, you know. Leave a comment telling me what you think of the season down below, and yeah, that's about it. See you in the next one. Later.